First off, I should probably make clear that there will be no spoilers in this review at all. Unlike the Power Rangers review, I want to keep this kind of short. Probably also made it clear that I never actually read the book. I did watch the 90s miniseries, however, and my opinions on that is yeah, it's funny as hell. It's like, I know a lot of people who actually grew up on it is like, oh, it's the scariest thing that ever happened, man. It's like, it's what made me so afraid of clowns. And I'm just like, okay, fair enough. Maybe if I grew up on it like they did, maybe I would be a bit more terrified of it. But honestly, I just think it's hilarious. Just Tim Curry. I love it. Really, I do. It's one of those so bad it's good things. This new version of it, however, is quite different in that it's actually it's a lot more serious, and this one is definitely a lot more horror-ish. And surprisingly, it's actually pretty good. Yeah, honestly, I expected this to be, another one of those modern day horror movies that's just all the same. It's just a bunch of boring characters and just a bunch of jump scares that you can see from a mile away. It's not. I mean, it has jump scares, but to be fair, so did like films like Alien. That had jump scares too. It just didn't have a lot of them. I would go as far as to say that this movie is actually closer to the original Alien than yeah. Anyway, let's actually get into the film. The film is set in the city of Derry, which is somewhere in the U.S., I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know shit about geography or if this place actually even exists. But yeah, it's about a group of kids who end up being terrified by this fucking clown thing, and they have to sort of band together to find out how they're gonna defeat this thing. That's basically, as much of a synopsis I can give without giving too much away. I can say this without spoiling it. There are definitely a lot of things that are different from the original 90s miniseries, and there are also, as far as I've been told, at least, there's some things that are very different from the book. But I still think this film manages to stand well on its own. So the main characters is this group of kids. The main character being a kid named Bill, who in the beginning of the film loses his younger brother to this clown. He has a stutter, and the film is very good at making sure like that this doesn't get annoying. He is sort of the unsure leader, and he's sort of, he's the one who's like the driving force and basically gets everyone in the end to sort of band together. Secondary main character would probably either be Beverly or Richie. Beverly is this girl who lives with her creepy dad. Yeah, who's actually almost as disturbing as the clown. And there's this storyline going on in the background about like whether she had sex with like some people or not, which she's kind of getting bullied for, and which is kind of why she ends up getting together with this group they actually call themselves the Losers. So I kind of suppose, which it's just kind of funny because that's almost the same thing we called ourselves, like my own group of friends when we were kids. So I guess uh, copyright, huh? No, cut that shit. The other thing, the other person, who might kind of be like secondary main character is this kid named Richie, who's played by Finn Wolfhard. That was his name. The kid from Stranger Things. He talks a lot about dicks. Yeah, that seems to be his thing. Like, I'm not even sure how to say it. Like, he just talks a lot about dicks, and it's like almost everything he says has something to do with the size of his dick. I had a friend like that actually. it's It's funny how people nowadays say that kids from the 80s and kids from nowadays is nothing alike, but we do have some things in common, including, the fact that everyone has that one friend who always talks about his dick. Or maybe that was just us, I don't know. Wow, that went on a wrong tangent. There's another kid named Stan, who's Jewish, and he has to, he has this bar mitzvah and stuff that he's very worried about. And that actually comes into play, with his big fear. This clown that sort of feeds on their fear, and his fear for going through this religious ritual is a big part of what the clown brings out, to scare him. But he's not, as big of a character as, the three others I've mentioned, so there really isn't all that much to say. There's also Ben, who's this small, kind of fat kid of the group, who's, very sweet and all, and, he kind of has a thing going with Beverly, and so does Bill, actually. It's kind of a love triangle. But he's actually the one who sort of, he actually, before the film sort of gets anywhere, he is actually researching some of this stuff. Not entirely sure why, but mostly it has something to do with like the town's history. Like he's trying to research it. He just moved to the town. There's also Mike, who's like the child who's been very overprotected. And he's very finicky with staying clean and stuff, and he has to sort of overcome his fear of all this disgusting stuff, and standing up to his mother and things like that, which again was also very compelling. It's also Mike, who's African American kid who is getting bullied hard for being black. There's this bully group who bullies all of the loser kids, and they are definitely hard on him. Like, I think I remember, wasn't there like a scene where oh yeah, that's a scene. I don't want to give too much away, but like, wow, like they just do some pretty disgusting things. In fact, yeah, this bully group, they are they are scary fuckers. I don't know if that was an 80s thing again. If anyone from the 80s is watching this, was that a thing in the 80s? Just crazy people running around with knives cutting their names into children? I don't think that's a big spoiler, but that's something they try. Was that a thing? Is it still a thing? I hope not. I mean, probably somewhere, but it's probably not. Was it a big thing back then? I don't know. Who cares? On with the movie. It's kind of funny because the bullies and Pennywise is actually kind of, a big part of why these kids, they get together and, actually end up growing. It's the adversity that eventually, is what makes them, gets them to overpower these two adversaries. The first time where you really feel like this group was together was when they actually ended up fighting the bullies, and that was really great. For one thing, it was really nice to see these bullies get their asses handed to them, but at the same time, you also sort of saw these kids finally get together, and work for something. Let's talk about the thing that everyone wants to know about, the one thing that's actually drawing people in. Pennywise the Clown, the It, as they call it. Yeah, he's great. Honestly, I love this version, of the character. It's very, very different from Tim Curry's version, but I think Bill Skarsgård does. Is that how you pronounce it? Sorry, Skarsgård. No, it's not Skarsgård. That sounds dumb. It is Skarsgård, right? Yeah, Bill Skarsgård. He does fantastic in this role. Very scary, very creepy. Yeah. Well, actually, there are some things like one of those like modern day horror movie tropes, like when he's supposed to like chase the kids, it gets a lot of like fucking shaky and he starts moving like this shit, and it's, oh well, there goes my glasses, bye. And it just gets, and it's just like, no, you can't scare us like that, we've seen it before, just please stop it, just stop. The only time he actually moves normally is when he's like chasing one of the kids, like who's already on the floor, and he's just sort of like, and he's just kind of like making, yeah, I don't even know what to call it, but that got kind of annoying. But compared to the amount of shit you see in many of those modern day horror films, this is still a lot better. If you have to go and choose between seeing like the new Annabelle movie or whatever, or it, I'd go for it. My god, go see it instead. If you have to go see a horror film, this is the one. It's not perfect, oh god no, but it's definitely a lot of fun. And it's definitely more of a horror film than the original was. And now I'm hearing noises all the time. This is great. Final thoughts? Good film. I'd watch it again. Not on big screen because I don't have that kind of money. But I'll see it again surely. And